since through God's mercy we have this ministry, we do not lose heart. Rather, we have renounced secret and shameful ways. We do not use deception, nor do we distort the word of God. On the contrary, by setting forth the truth plainly, we commend ourselves to everyone's conscience in the sight of God. And even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. The God of this age has blinded the minds of unbelievers, so that they will not see the light of the gospel that displays the glory of Christ, who is the image of God.
I understand it could always be worse. I've been sheltered my whole life, so I've never known hardship. And I've never really known rejection. My parents always accepted me. Hell, I lived with my folks till I was 26 years old. That was just 2 years ago. And even when I left, I was living off of a girl. It's just that, how could I put off seeing my mother for so long? She's been in this so-called rehabilitation place for 8 months. She fell once last year and it was pretty bad. She had already been spending like a year solid literally by herself. And she moved to this elderly community in 2019. And talking to this fucking AI robot about why I left initially was because of a Elliot Holst video where he said that you have to leave the mother and rejoin with the father. And during that time, I was still on the same cycle, doing the same exact type of stuff, except I was living with my mom, and I had a good job, and she needed my help with the house. Like, she told me beforehand that, like, she can't afford the bills without my help. And I did good for a while working the overnight shift. They paid well. And I started quitting my jobs again. And then uh, I guess just thinking that life is sweet, man. It's the one thing my girlfriend's been telling me like for the past, several months. That life isn't sweet. And I never even got a taste of that till a few days ago when when she said like, "Hey, you can go if you want to." And then I was actually thinking like, like where the fuck would I go? Like my mama doesn't have space for me no more, and I'm not sure if my dad would have accepted me, but that's just because we haven't talked in so long. I already said that I didn't really necessarily want to move back with my folks because I left my mom's. Well, I really left my dad's 2 years ago and decided to move in with this girl. But ever since 2019 to 2025, it's about to be 2025. That's 5 years, 6 years. And just to see her steady decline, my mother um, was like perfectly fine in 2019. She was shuffling a little bit, but she was moving. And yeah, she was living off of Social Security or whatever. But so she would just sit around all day watching uh, cooking shows and shit. And I remember she gave me back in 2019 when I was staying in the house with her by Houston. She told me, she was like, you gotta find a job in X amount of days. Like, I need help, or else I gotta get rid of the house. And didn't realize or think about the severity of my choices. And during the time, my best friend that I've known since middle school was telling me that I should come back to San Antonio, and I could have at least just visited or something. I don't know. I don't know. But because I have grown a lot since then. But my friend telling me that I should come back, uh, combined with listening to Elliot Holst saying to leave the mother and rejoin the father. And this AI was saying that, like, because he also referenced that to Elliot Holst also referenced that to like leaving the earth being like worldly things and rejoining with the father being God. And AI said that like I was taking it quite literal to leave your mother in search of a masculine essence, when the true masculine essence was to protect and serve. And in doing, you neglected like your masculine essence to a degree, thinking that you were searching for your masculinity when really you could have been helping your mother and just not spent so much time at home, go to work like you were supposed to. But That was in 2019, and I remember when I first moved to San Antonio. It had only been a few months, like 4 months or something, and I went to go see my mom, and I remember looking at her like, wow, like she looks really different. And that was only over a matter of a few months, because she didn't really belong in a elderly community. That was 5 years ago, man. And um, I think I'm running out of space on this computer. I need to get a memory or delete all the videos that I've already posted or something. But like yesterday was traumatic, I guess is the word. Over the years, my mom's just spent years, bro, in this elderly like place, like literally psychologically getting old as shit when she wasn't like there. You know what I'm saying? She's not at that capacity. She wasn't in. She wasn't. She wasn't low like that. And it's like, why couldn't I wake up to that? Like years of my mom just sitting around. Like I knew, like I said before, to get an RV and to travel and see the 50 states. I told her that yesterday when I seen her. I was like, you gotta get better, ma. I was like, we still gotta go take that trip. We gotta see every state, man. And to a degree, I think she kind of like, she just like closed her eyes. Cause it's like, I think her soul just knew like that was boo boo. Cause I'm like, I was even thinking in that moment, like, bro, she don't believe you, Doug. Why? Because I don't have the resources to actually make that happen. You know, I say I'm gonna do this and that, but then it's like truly, if I had the money, I'd make it happen. And this whole time, I've been self sabotaging and hurting myself, and like I've said, like I've had the ability to work on cars, and I've literally thrown away cars because I didn't fix them or what. But I knew, even if it was a tough job, like I knew I could have gotten the job done. But all this self-loathing and self-hatred, quitting jobs, not having money, and Brandon Carter said it best. He said, like, if you have the money, you can prolong your loved one's health, you know? And something else was happening to where, like, I was mad this whole time at, like, my half sister for whatever, neglect or whatever, or inducing, like, a mental state where she's an old person. But truly, it's like, my sister was paying for her bills and making all the things happen. So it is what it is. And my dad told me 2 years ago when I first got upset that, like, I'm not mad at my sister. Like, I'm mad at myself for not providing that. And truly, that's what it is. Because what my dream was to get a piece of land and build my house, build a house for my dad, build a house for my mom, have a guest house for my peoples. And it's like, how far are you really into that? You've known you wanted to do this for like the past 2 or 3 years. Same way that I knew my mom's health was on a decline for the past 2 years. Why didn't you kick it into gear? I've always told myself that, like, I had this idea the last few years that, oh, if I got my girlfriend pregnant, then Like I'd keep a job, a stable job, on top of getting two jobs and working hard and getting a trade so that I can earn more money and make sure that my baby never goes hungry. But even when I would think things like that, like I'm like, why would you have to wait till the last minute once again? Like, why would you have to wait until like your girlfriend got pregnant to go out and bust your ass and work hard? And then like with yesterday, the experience with my mother is like, why did I have to wait so long to go see my mother? It's been 8 months she's been in the hospital, and like, why did it take so long for me to go see her, like, or to even try to contribute to her health? Because I've been fascinated the last few years with like elderly specialization, like trying to help people gradually, you know, get older, trying to make their situation better. Like it's fascinating me because the last couple of years, like my dad got sick and he had heart surgery and I stayed with him a few months and then the following a few months after that my mom fell down and so that was the first time and I went to go stay with her. So, maybe that was God trying to tell me something. Cause like once again, like I went to a friend saying, "Oh, I want to learn like rehabilitation," and he was like, "That's the type of thing that you pay for." And even then, like even with that piece of advice, like I could have worked harder to get money to get a fitness coach for my mom or a nutritionist for my dad or something. Well, when truly it was just time, you know, like, but so the second time my mom fell down was the beginning of this year, and I never went to go see her. That was in April. May, June, July was her birthday, and I didn't go see her on her birthday. I just called her. August, September, October, November. That's 4 solid months. And in November on Thanksgiving, she called me, and she was like, uh, which is crazy because I think earlier in October, like back when she like really had her mind all together, she talked to me on the phone and she was like, la la la, we're talking or whatever. And she was like, and I was like, well, when you getting out of there? When you getting out of there? She was like, oh, I don't know, such and such. Like I wasn't getting any straight answers. And one of the last things she said in that conversation was like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. And like, why wouldn't I fucking move on that, dog? Why wouldn't I listen to her cry for help, bro? But and then like in November on Thanksgiving, she I'm doing my own thing, whatever, yard work, whatever. And I got a missed call from her, and the voicemail is just her crying. And she was crying, but she said, I'm okay. So immediately in my head, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go see my mama. Like she's crying me on Thanksgiving, but later on through the day, I called her. We talked on the phone. She was more calm and collected. But I asked her. I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Are you like? Is anybody spending Thanksgiving with you or anything?" She's like, "No, everyone's with their families and shit." And then even after that conversation, I told myself like, you go see your mama today, man. And uh, but I wanted to keep it secretive. I did not tell my girlfriend how I felt or that I wanted to go see my mom or whatever. On Thanksgiving, we went to go see her family. I even lied about going to work. And I told myself to drive straight over there. But I was like, oh, my girl's going to realize that I drove all these miles, you know. Like, she's going to, or like, I don't, you know, only have like gas to get down there. Like, I don't even have the money to get gas to come back. And then on top of that, I'm asking her for money every month, like not even realizing that she's in decline. So it is what it is, big dog. But so it's just so crazy because in my journaling, like I've been journaling every day for like the past 2 years, and everything's been like kind of lining up, even to a degree where like on the days I wake up late, it's been the same. Like wait, like it's kind of crazy. To the days where I have arguments with my girlfriend. But what's so crazy is that so my sister called from my mom's phone and put her on, but my mom's not speaking. She's just nodding her head or whatever. And the same day that like basically Amy's calling to let me know that like my mom's so bad. A year ago that same day, my mom came to town to see me when I was staying in the apartment. And I didn't even answer the phone. And she was already in town. We made plans to get together. I didn't answer the phone, and I sent her a text message saying not today. She was in town. She drove like what, an hour and a half to come see me a year ago that same day. So on the 21st, yesterday, a year ago, I quit my job that I had, that my friend got me. And yeah, it was, a barbecue joint. And I had worked at that same company 10 years prior, 2013, quit it in 2014. So in 2013, it was my first job at that company. I'm still bumping around, not knowing my place. My friend gets me a job at that same company 10 years ago, 2023. And I told myself, I said, keep this job for a year, bro. Stack up your change. Yeah, it's a fucking food place. And you know you like warehouse and all this shit or delivery jobs, but it's income. Like, we need consistent income right now. Like, forget the titles, you know? But, I didn't want to call in. I don't think I had ever called in before or something like that. And it was such a big thing for me because I called out of work. I called them, and it was last minute too. Like for why? Why would you call last minute? And especially like when I live up the street, there's absolutely no reason for you not to go. Like literally, I walked to work. I didn't need a car. But I called out, and for some reason, like I was so frustrated with that. Like I kind of ripped the page in the notebook. Like I was so upset and destitute. I was so distraught with the fact that I just called out of work. And I titled that day Doomsday. And a year later, the 21st, yesterday, it was Doomsday, bro, to me. And I tried to, it's all a learning lesson for sure. But so after that, yesterday, because it was 1 o'clock, right? And everything just felt like dominoes. That's how you can, for me, kind of tell that like the Spirit of God is moving. I have not talked or read the Bible. I haven't talked to God in months. I was always religious growing up. I was always reading the Bible. Yeah, I was brought up that way, but on my own effort, I studied and reflected on it. But getting older, high school and beyond, started fading, fading, fading. I haven't been talking about God. I haven't been thinking about God. But God is so powerful that like He's working through me without me even doing anything. It's all His effort. Because then my girlfriend starts acting like, oh, she doesn't want to have sex before marriage, and she wants to get closer to God, and she wants to read the Bible. She wants to look at it, and it's like the answers she's really looking for, I got them. To a degree. I've studied the Bible to where like, I could point some things at. But I don't know. It's crazy, bro. Yesterday was trying. I'm usually like a stoic person. Like, I usually, to a degree, but like I guess that's what people would call it. Like when I'm in front of others. But really, what it is just that I feel like I have an abnormality. Like I don't show emotion. Like in the event, but like hours later, like I'll cry alone and shit. But like during the moment, I won't. And even it's crazy. Like even before this trip, like my girlfriend and my dad were saying like, you should go. It's like it's your mom, da da da. Like, and I was like, why are these humans tripping? In my brain, I'm like, why are they tripping? Like, but it all made sense later. But like that's usually how I am with everything, or a lot of things. Like in the moment, I'm like looking around and like, why are these humans acting like this? Like, it's crazy. Maybe it's a defense mechanism. I don't think it's defense, but it's just how I process stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's a gift and a curse. Be able to trudge through whatever is necessary and not really process it and think about it in the moment. If I used it and still did the best of my ability, without looking around like, what's happening? But the main key takeaway from this is that so I got that call yesterday, or really the day before that. Yeah, because the day before that was the day that I wrote in my journal a year ago that my mom came to see me and I didn't answer. That same day, my sister called with my mom on the line, and my mom's not even speaking. She's lost her voice. Her will to live, really. And nobody's come to see her for 8 months. That being me, you know. And Amy's like, "Oh, you should come see her. You know, you're her favorite." And because my mom never really listens to other people so much. Like she'll listen to me. Like you know, she'll take advice from me. Uh, so I got that phone call. Basically, Amy's saying that you should come on down here. And at first, after all this, I was pissed. I was pissed off at my sister, thinking like, how in the world could you wait so long? Like, you're telling me my mom hasn't eaten any food. She's refused medicine. She refused food for 2 weeks. And you're calling me 2 weeks later? Like, you didn't call me after 3 days or after five or the first week? Like, you're calling me after 14 days of her not eating? And I was mad. But over this whole thing, it's like, nah, like, I could have come. I could have worked harder in 8 months to get a few $1,000 and at least give myself a vehicle to go see her beforehand, leading up to this, all this time where she kept asking every once in a while, you want me to move down there? You want to come up here? Like I could have done any of that in that time span. And so after that phone call, I was gonna keep all this from my girl. I was just gonna go see my mom's on Sunday and still prolong it. Today is Sunday. Yesterday, 22nd, and I'm not sure because I didn't do my journaling yesterday, and I knew yesterday was gonna be interesting because I knew that was the day that I quit my job, aka Doomsday. So I told myself we gotta make this the best day possible, or I have to do something to counteract that day. So I was prepared for it mentally to a degree, but because the uh, day prior, like I said, got the phone call. Then immediately after, my dad calls saying, got this call. Want to make sure you know about your mama. And I was like, yeah, I know. Um, then immediately after, I was gonna hit burpees at 2:22 p.m. and the plumber knocks on the door because there's a leak in the front yard. Water's everywhere. I was like, okay. So, like, I let him in or tell him what the problem is, talk to him, whatever. I still hit my burpees later on in the day. But then I got a call from my sister, while I'm working outside and stuff, saying, oh, I got this call from mama, wada woo woo woo. No, that wasn't this day. Because I think I messaged her on Facebook, and I was up at like 1 a.m. the night prior, and I'm trying to decide what to do. And my sister kept saying like, call me at 1:30. I was thinking like, hey, we're on the same frequency right now somehow, so maybe I should call her. But didn't happen, didn't work out. Somehow we missed each other's calls, didn't work. To a degree, I think that was good because like she's a very emotional person, so I think it was good we didn't talk alone like that, even though that's might have what I wanted to do. But the following morning, I was out, decided to follow through, do my yard work. So I'm in the backyard, cleaning up, clearing up. Get a phone call, and it's my sister. She's talking. Yeah, she's saying basically, would you go check it out? But unbeknownst to me in the beginning, her husband's there too. So she's like, "Oh, want to let you know you're on speaker. Nathaniel's here too." And he's an Air Force man. And he said something too. He basically broke it down. He was like, we want you to go over there, see how your mom's doing. We got a call that she was doing bad. So we want to know if it's really that bad. Because we had previous plans to go see my 90-something-year-old grandmother. We want her to see our baby child. But if your mama's doing bad, then we'll cancel that trip to a different state and we'll come to your state and come see your mama. And they're like, we're willing to do whatever, but just let us know what the conditions are. If it's really that bad, or, because my mom's also been known to kind of, when she gets lonely, she would do sickness stuff, which is basically what this is. Refusal of eating, refusal of medicine, refusal of rehabilitation throughout the months. Like it's a cry for help. And this was the ultimate cry because no one's seen her in 8 months. I haven't seen her in 8 months. So I've been in the Psalms lately, last few days. But
For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble.
that just reminded me, bro. There was a prayer that my mom would speak over me all the time when the last time that we lived together. He was like, you'll be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. They may fall on your left or fall on your right, but harm will not come towards you. I don't know the exact verse, but she would say it over me every day. And I kind of felt like she was saying a prayer over me yesterday. And the point is, she couldn't even speak. But be it as it be, the hell. I got the call from my sister Sarah, yesterday morning while I'm doing my yard work, and her husband's there. He's an Air Force man telling me, hey, go check it out, but be, stoic. Don't get mad or anything like that. I told him, yeah, 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 yeah. And they asked me, like, when would you go check it out? And I was like, today or tomorrow. No sense of urgency. I wanted to go Sunday so I could kind of like avoid traffic and avoid seeing my sisters from up there. Then later, I'm sitting on the porch with my girlfriend. I wasn't even going to tell her. But I got the phone call from my sister, and I said, hey, you know what? I'm sitting next to my girlfriend. I usually don't even talk in front of the people. I don't talk on the phone in front of people. But I said, hey, I'll answer it. I answer it. I put it on speaker, let alone I never put people on speaker. And my sister's saying, like, oh, dad's talking about going and seeing her. Our parents are divorced, whatever. But still, my dad is concerned enough to go see her. And she's saying, like, oh, he's going to go. Like, maybe you could go with him. I said, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Because I already know, like, my dad has a car, but it's not really, like, well enough to, like, travel an hour's distance to Austin. So I was like, okay, that works. Like, my girl just got a new car, so we got some stability here. Um, when I got off the phone with my sister saying that I would go with my dad, my girlfriend asked me, like, what's up? And I told her, like, yeah, I got the call that, like, they're trying to put my mom in a hospice, and she's not doing good, refusing to eat. And she was like, oh, okay, let's go right now. And I was like, what? What? I was like, oh, I was going to go tomorrow. She was like, no, we need to go now. She's like, I'm going to cancel my plans with my mom and let's go. Let's all go. Let's get it. And I was like, okay. Something in me was just, because, like, usually in my quest for masculinity, I'd be like, listen to a woman. I'm not going to listen to a woman. But in that moment, the fact that Sarah called and she was saying to go with my father, and then my girl was saying, let's go right now with a sense of urgency, something in me was like, I'm going. Even though there was a little hesitancy right there in that moment, and then there was hesitancy later, which I'll explain in a little bit, but like there was hesitancy for me to go right there in that moment. But I was like, she's saying let's go. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna fight it because it's not my car, but everyone has an open schedule right now. I was like, I'm gonna check it out. I call my dad and I'm like, I heard you're going. I'm going. We should go together. He's like, well, when do you want to go? He's like, I was thinking about going Sunday. I was like, I was thinking about going Sunday. And I thought that was interesting because we're both introvert or not really introvert. He's an extrovert. But the fact that we wanted to kind of go covert, like we wanted to go in there, not really see my sisters or have any issues. We just wanted to kind of go there, maybe have less traffic. But I thought it was interesting that we both thought the same. We both separately wanted to go on Sunday, which is today. But he was like, "What time will you be here?" I was like, I can be there in an hour. He's like, be here at 2 because I got to take my car to get new tires. He said he was literally getting new tires so he could make that trip the following day, which was today. Even though his car wasn't all that, he was still going to try to make it down now. Which ultimately is good because, hey, like, being how we are, probably would have waited till the last minute to change his tires. So ultimately, even if he hated spending the money, it was probably good that he got new tires. That means evidently he probably needed it, you know. But still, um, and it worked out good because it gave my girlfriend time to get ready, it gave me time to get ready myself instead of having to rush out the door. We get there, pick him up at the tire shop, and we go back to uh, his place, and so my girl waits in the car a little bit. I follow my dad inside so I can use his restroom, and then I'm telling him like I'm like, he's like, oh, I gotta wait till my car gets out, or he's like, or I can just leave. He was saying I can just leave it there and come back, but he's like, oh, they're closed tomorrow. So initially in my brain, I was like, well, let's just wait 45 minutes or whatever, or an hour till your car's finished, and then let's go. But I was vacillating. I was hesitant. I was like, ooh, I was like, well, maybe we should wait till tomorrow. But then, like looking at everything in retrospective and kind of barely just a little taste of it in the moment, just looking, I'm like, my girl is fresh, done up, did her makeup, she looks nice. I like look nice to a degree, you know what I'm saying? Dressed up. Um, my girl even told me like to wear this nice shirt and to put gel in my hair or whatever. And I'm, glad I did. I didn't really look like a bum so much, but blessings to her. She was a true blessing throughout the whole ordeal. That fact that she gave that sense of urgency, and everyone was ready to go. My dad was dressed up. I was ready. I was like, you know what, let's do it. And one of my concerns too was the traffic, because I'm like, it's Saturday at 3 p.m. and traffic is always crazy at this time in Austin. Absolutely. So I was like, oh, I don't even want to go because of the traffic. Let's hold off till the morning. But then I was just like, along the way, I was just like, after they were trying to talk to me and everything, I was like, let's go, let's do it. We took my dad to go get his keys for the car at least so he could take it off the lot when we got back. And the timing worked out. Um, and we went up there. I hit the highway, and I was driving, as they say, as a madman. I know myself, and to a degree, like I could have had like a little bit more control on the road. I could see in certain instances where it could have gone wrong. But the way I drive is like shoo shoo shoo. Like my dad even talked about it, and he told my girl like later on while they were waiting on me, I came out to see him when I was visiting my mama, and he was like, Josh is the only person that I feel like I can relax with. And I was thinking about it too, because like on the way up there, my dad was sleeping, and the way I'm driving, I'm in the fast lane, I'm going over, cutting through, coming back to the fast lane, like, and I'm looking back at my girl too, wondering if she's wondering about the way I'm driving, because I'm just trying to get up there, and she's reading a book by T.D. Jakes. And by the way, she finished the whole book that night, read it the whole trip, hour and a half, 2 hours, and then read it when she came out for like the last hour and a half, waiting for me. She came to the car while my dad was in the lobby of the place, and she finished the whole book. She says, but I can see because like throughout the trip, I looked back at her and she was really plowing through this book, man, which is crazy. She gave me that book as a gift um, for my birthday a couple years ago, maybe before we lived together. And she read the whole thing before me. And so I'm driving, man. And what's crazy is my dad even mentioned it in the beginning. He was like, huh, no traffic. That's, maybe he's like, that's a sign from God. Because even in my brain, I'm like, yeah, 3 p.m., 4 p.m., like there should be jam-packed traffic. And I know I'm the type of person to where if there's jam-packed traffic and we're just sitting there, I'll be like, oh no, this must be a sign. Like I'm gonna turn around. I'm not gonna go up there. Like that's my whole attitude. But the fact that everything was clear, I'm zooming, man. I'm going shoot, shoot, shoot. Even in Austin, like yeah, there was traffic, but still, it wasn't like what usually is expected. Like Austin traffic is like bumper to bumper throughout the whole downtown. You know what I'm saying? And it's like 3 p.m., 4 p.m. on a Saturday. So I was like, there's got to be traffic. But even in Austin, like there was, but it was moving the whole time. Even though it was built up a little bit here and there, it still was kind of straight shot, like not really a bunch of sit down time. The traffic still moved. So I'm moving, boo ba ba ba. And then my dad wants to stop at HEB, and I have no money, of course, because I haven't been working. And he buys her flowers. He's like, you get something, you get something. And I don't even question it because I know he means like he's gonna buy it. Like usually I would say some stupid shit like, I don't have any money. Will you pay for it? But I knew just how he is and everything. He meant like get some flowers. Like I got you. You know what I'm saying? And so he got flowers. I got flowers. He, and that was good. He wanted to do something nice for her. And so we stop at HEB, we get these flowers, and my girl still waits in the car. I'm telling you, like this whole time, she pretty much was reading that book, man. She's on a spiritual journey, which is really kind of leading me back to wanting to read the Word because that's really how I only see peace coming from this. And God's been telling me for years that if you want success financially or in life, you got to do it through me. Like, there's no way. The same way that I hear the same voice saying, like, don't be mad at your sister because of your mom's condition. Like, comfort your mother, help her to get better, mentally, spiritually, physically, and still be a blessing to this woman, even if you have hard feelings, because it's already bad enough that your father and your whole sister are already upset with her. And I've already shown that I'm upset. But something switched throughout this whole ordeal that just makes me feel I should just be showing love towards her, a blessing. In fact, trying to shine the light of God because I know that, like, well, maybe she believes in God or knows who God is, but her actions wouldn't really show otherwise to me, fruits of their labor, right? Or you can tell by, um, so I was like, if anything, I can shine. Maybe I should try to pray for her salvation instead of throwing hate or anger her way. And because even in that moment, even last night driving home, like I said something that was like dark humor or whatever, but I was like, my dad was saying like, what did you think about the whole thing? I was like, murder, because I was just thinking I was about to blow up on the car ride back. I was like, I'm gonna kill all these motherfuckers. I was like, I'm gonna kill everybody. Like I was spazzing, even on the way back. But throughout the whole thing, my feelings had changed about the situation. But we get there with the flowers and everything, and we left at like 3, right? We got there at 5, 2-hour trip. And really, we left at like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., stayed pretty late actually. My sister even said, like, on the car ride home near the end, my dad called them and she was like, I'm surprised you stayed so late. And we were like leaving there about 10:45. Yeah. But me, my dad, and my girlfriend get to this place. Nice place, fancy place. You can tell it's big bucks, big business. But go to my mom's room and she looks like a Holocaust victim. Like just bones, you know? And worse off, she's laying there staring into the distance. She sees us and no reaction. Like her eyes are moving, but like she's just staring off into the wall. And we're like, we got you flowers. And she just has no reaction, she's like, you know, and and I'm there, whatever, and I sit next to my mom's bedside, and they were only there for a few minutes, and my dad, and so my girlfriend's standing at the door. My dad's there, and he's looking around, and he was like, and he's starting to say stuff like, "Oh, this is really fucked. Actually, this is fucked up, man." And I hear him saying that shit, and I'm just like, "Hey, would y'all give us a few minutes? Y'all mind leaving us alone for a little bit?" And I'm just there, and because I didn't want her to hear him saying nothing like that, because I was like, I want to spread some positivity, and I told her like everything I really said was really upfront in the beginning. I was like, Ma, like, you gotta get through this, like you're a fighter, you're not meant to die yet. You know this, because she told me that ever since she was a child, she accepted Jesus in her heart when she was a very young girl, and just fell in love with Jesus, and has just been straight floored for Jesus this whole time, never stopped. And initially, like ever since she was a child, she was like, she just believed she was gonna see Jesus' return. So I was like, Ma, you can't go yet. Like, you can't go till Jesus comes back, and you have more work to do. There's more for you to do. And I said all that, and just why did it take so long for me, bro? And and it's like she's trying to talk. She's like, she can't talk, and then she throws up, because I think that's the first time her trying to use her body. So she actually threw up, and I went and I talked to the nurse, or I go out there, and I can't remember order of occurrence of events, but I know I went to the nurse, told him, hey, my mom, I was told she hasn't been eating, she just threw up, and I can kind of understand him with his accent, but trying to connect the dots. And usually I'm good with that stuff, but he had a rough accent, so it was a little bit harder for me, which is surprising because it's usually I'm able to read through thick accents. But basically he was saying like, yeah, it's been 2 weeks she hasn't eaten, and and I tell him that and such, and he comes back, or he came and gave her a shot, and so I don't know if it was before or after that, but I left the room, and my girl went in to say something to my mama, and I went to go. My dad had introduced me to one of my mama's neighbors in a room next door or something. But my mom couldn't speak, and during that time, like really, my dad and my girl, they never, like, they only saw her for that short amount of time. And then they both went to the lobby and waited for me. So basically, they waited, right? Like 3 or 4 hours or something, however long I was in there. If we got there at like 5 something, and they may have been there for like 30, 45 minutes, but by an hour, so by 7 o'clock for sure, 6 p.m. maybe, but by 7 o'clock for sure, I'm all alone with her, and I'm like, Mom. And then uh all I know is it was 7 something, and I told her like, hey, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna come back. She's like, okay. She just nodded her head, and she was waving. I went out to the lobby with them, my dad, my girlfriend. They're talking about like Jesus, cause my right now my girl's all about saying now she wants to get closer to God. So they're having conversation and such, and they're talking, but they're engaged in their conversation, and I'm sitting there, and they keep going. And my dad even asked me. He said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to go and I want to come back. Like I want to come back tomorrow." And but they kept talking, and so after a little while of sitting there, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back. Even though my mama looked tired, even though she was like in and out. I went there, and then later, that Indian man came by, and he had like this, the milkshake stuff with the straw, and he was like, "Do you want to try to have some?" And she was going after it, man. Like she was trying to drink half of it, but every time she was drinking some of it, like it spilled out of the side of her mouth, and I fucking wipe it up and shit. And like she hadn't eaten in 2 weeks and shit, bro. It was like she's just fucking sitting there. Kind of, she's just sitting there, like trying to sip on it, and it's fucking coming out of the fucking side of her mouth and shit. And like she's just attacking it, bro. Like she's trying to drink that shit, bro. To a point where I feel bad because I'm like, dog, like she hasn't eaten in 2 weeks. She's just trying to regain her strength just so she can talk to me. And I was thinking, because like I already know, like subconsciously, like after going so long without eating, like you don't necessarily want to shock the system, and like just eat a lot. And like she was like really trying to like drink that shit, but like every time she would drink, like it's still like falling out the side of her mouth and shit. And so I kept telling her like, take it easy, like it's cool, like don't don't stress, don't stress about it, like it's cool. And she's like trying to drink water too. It's like I know she probably hasn't been drinking water, let alone eating anything. And during that time, like she was just trying to go at it. Like she kept going back, going back, going back. And I just kept telling her like it's cool. Like, take your time, man. Cause I guess I was there at like 8:08, and I didn't come back out till like 10. So I spent like 2 hours there, just there, and I like didn't even say nothing. Like the only thing I said was like kind of mid in the beginning to middle. I was like, "I'm sorry, mama." because I told her in 2019 when I left, I said, like, look, if you're gonna move to an old folks community, like, okay, but just know that in a couple years, like, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna take you away, and we're gonna move to the country. And she was like, okay. And that was 5 years ago. Because, she was always good mentally. Even if her body started deteriorating due to not being used, she always had a good head on her shoulder. I guess that's just the thing that sticks with me is this that like she was trying so hard to like get her energy back, and during the course of those 2 hours, like she just held my hand. And she gained enough strength earlier on to say, I need to turn. And now in retrospect, I'm thinking like, I feel like she's been left in that position for like weeks and like no one's fucking moved her or nothing. And like she said, I want to turn. I was like, what the? I was like, she spoke, but that must have been all of her energy or what? Cause like during those 2 hours, like she kept going like she was doing this. But I think like she was going like, come here, come here. And near the end, I was kind of thinking like, bro, like she just needs a hug, dog. Like I bet she hasn't felt comfort in a long time or the embrace of somebody. Like I bet a lot of people just like pat her on the shoulder or some shit. And I bet that she hasn't felt a warm embrace in a while. I was like, just hug her, bro. And like 6 times, like probably a couple more times. I don't know, but like a lot of times she was like, and like by the third time, I was like, I was like, am I confused? I was like, are you trying to tell me you need something like a bowl, like you need something? But I asked her like, you trying to tell me something? She was like, she just kept coming. She was like, I put like my and Like she didn't say nothing. She didn't say anything. But one of those times like when I had my head near her, she just like patted my head. I just had this feeling that like she was saying that prayer that like she would always tell me like you will be like a tree planted by the riverside. Oh, the joys of those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or stand around with sinners, or join with mockers, but they delight in the law of the Lord, meditating on it day and night. They are like a tree planted along the river bank, bearing fruit each season. Their leaves they never wither, and they prosper in all that they do, but not the wicked. That was Psalms. Harm will not come toward you. Jeremiah 17:7-8. Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends its roots by the stream. It does not fear when the heat comes. Its leaves are always green and no worries in the year of drought. I know this is like probably the King James Version. I don't want to hear the King James Version though. Fucking ads. Typical. It's the NIV, boy. Why are there so many ads on this Bible website, man? But anyway, in that moment, I kind of had a sense that she was praying for me. Even without words, she was just praying. In that moment, I felt like she was praying for me. Kind of like, they're there now. Like, it's okay. It's not your fault. 'Cause I told her, like, I'm sorry. I should have done better. And then that's when for 2 hours straight, like I was just holding her hand.